Friends, it is time to continue our reading of the apocryphal book of Baruch. Thank you for joining us this morning. So let's start as we always do by taking a look at the big picture. We are in chapter 3. We're going to be resuming this morning at verse 15 of chapter 3. So there we go. Good. So back to the big picture here. We're in this section right here, this middle section that began at verse 9 of chapter 3 and goes through verse 4 of chapter 4. The divine wisdom of the Torah. Torah, God's law, God's instruction, God's wisdom. Sometimes we as Christians forget that for our Jewish brothers and sisters, the law is indeed considered a gift, God's self-revelation, God giving encouragement to walk in a better way, a better interpretation than simply God telling us what we can and cannot do. The divine wisdom of the Torah. Verse 15, that's where we pick up today. I'll be reading from the left-hand column, which is the Common English Bible. The right-hand column has the text as it is found in the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition. Got our timer set. Verse 15. All we need to do is scroll down to verse 15. That's an interesting spot to have stopped. Oh, okay. That is a breaking point in the NRSV UE. Okay. Let's read, friends. After another sip of coffee. Who has found her place of residence? And who has entered her storehouses? Where are the leading officials of the nations, and the masters of the animals that are on the earth? Where are those who entrap the birds in the sky, and those who store up silver and gold in which humans have trusted? There is no end to their attempts to acquire more. Where are those who anxiously scheme to acquire silver, There is no trace of their actions. They have all vanished and gone to the grave, and others have risen up in their place. New generations have seen the light and lived on the earth. But they did not know the way of knowledge. They did not they didn't understand her paths or take hold of her. Their children also went far off course. She hadn't been heard of in Canaan or seen in Teman. Hagar's children who seek earthly understanding, the traders of Maran and Teman, the storytellers and knowledge seekers, haven't learned the way of wisdom, nor have they remembered her paths. Israel, how great is God's house, and spacious is God's domain. It is great and has no end. It is high and immeasurable. The giants were born there, the famous ones from the beginning of time, who were very large and experts in war. God didn't select them or give them the way of true knowledge. So they perished because they didn't have wisdom. They perished through their carelessness. Who went into heaven, took wisdom, and brought her down from the clouds? Who crossed over to the other side of the sea and found her? And who will bring her back with choice gold? No one knows the road she takes or thinks much about the path she travels. But the one who knows all things knows her. God found her by his understanding, the one who made the earth for time eternal. And filled it with four-footed animals. I'm just looking for a second there to see if there would be an interesting comparison, but the two texts actually agree. I find it interesting that they do agree in the language of God found her. Now, God finding something, I'm sure the intent means something different than what we think of when we think of finding something. It's not discovery, it's bringing into being. Verse 32, the one who sends the light and it shines forth, who called it and it obeyed him with trembling. The stars shone at their appointed posts and were delighted. God called them, and the stars said, here we are. They shone joyfully for the one who made them. Excuse me, this is our God. No other will be compared to him. God discovered every way of knowledge and gave her to his child Jacob, to Israel whom he loved. After this, she appeared on earth and lived among humans. Interesting that we've got a verse number difference here. Oh, I see. Verse 34 in the Common English Bible is verse 35. Verse 34 and 35 in the New RSV. That's a long verse 34 in the Common English Bible. All right, that explains it. Chapter 4. She is the scroll containing God's commandments, the law that exists forever. All who hold on to her will live, but those who desert her will die. Jacob, turn and grab onto her. Travel toward the rays coming from her light. Don't give your honor to another or your advantages to a foreign nation. Israel, we are blessed because we know what is pleasing to God. Let's take a quick peek here at the big picture. So we now start the next section, Hope for Restoration. Be confident, my people, you who are the legacy of Israel. You weren't sold to the nations for complete destruction, but you were handed over to your opponents because you made God angry. You upset your Creator when you sacrificed to demons and not to God. You forgot the eternal God who raised you, and you caused pain to Jerusalem who nurtured you. Jerusalem saw the wrath of God that came on you and said, Neighbors of Zion, listen. God has brought me great grief. I have watched my sons and daughters taken captive. The action of the Eternal One. I nursed them joyfully, but I sent them away with tears and mourning. We're going to pause there, friends. And next time that we pick up Baruch, we will be chapter 4, verse 12. That'll be where we pick up next time. And I have a sneaking suspicion. I'm going to look at the numbers here after we're complete with prayers this morning. But I have a sneaking suspicion that we're probably going to finish Baruch next time. Prayers on another live in just a few moments. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Mom. Peace be with you. And good morning, Audrey.